Hey guys, CoFilms here, and as you may know, this weekend sees the release of M. Night Shyamalan's new thriller Split, which stars James McAvoy as a man with DID, or as is better known, multiple personality disorder, who kidnaps three girls for an unclear reason that begins to reveal itself as the film goes on. I was actually lucky enough to see the movie at an advanced screening on January 13th, and I want to make a video where I explain and share my thoughts on the film's ending, which if you haven't seen the movie yet, is sure to get people talking. So before I go any further, be aware that this video is full of spoilers. If you plan on seeing Split at some point, I highly recommend turning off this video now, and maybe coming back to it after you've seen the movie, as it's not the type of movie that I would want to have spoiled for me. So as long as we're all good, we'll get started. So firstly, I want to dive into the film's actual ending before discussing what can be considered its post-credit scene, although if we are sticking to a strict definition, it's not really a post-credit scene since it actually appears before the credits, but that's beside the point. As previously mentioned in Split, James McAvoy plays Kevin Wendell Crumb, a man who exhibits 23 alternate personalities, 5 or 6 of which are prominently featured in the film. The audience is only left with hints and clues here and there as to why the three girls, named Casey, Claire, and Marcia, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, Haley Lou Richardson, and Jessica Sula, have been abducted. But in the film's third act, Crumb's plan is revealed. So we find out that he plans on using the girls as a sacrifice for a 24th and final personality that he believes is going to manifest for the first time very soon, referred to as the Beast, who is supposedly the king among the horde, aka the assortment of identities. Meanwhile, Kevin's personalities are seen going to therapy sessions with Betty Buckley's Dr. Karen Fletcher, a specialist in his disorder who firmly believes that patients not only can change their mindset when adopting a personality, but in rare cases can also physically alter their body chemistry and enhance their capabilities as a human. While all this is happening, the three girls attempt to escape from the undisclosed location they're being kept at, and despite several attempts are unsuccessful in doing so. While Claire and Marcia take an unconcealed approach to ensuring their escape, which lands them all in separate rooms, Casey waits for a moment to escape, attempting to manipulate one of Kevin's more childlike personalities, Hedwig, into helping her do so. Through all of this, Casey experiences flashbacks to her childhood and how after her father died she was taken in by her pedophiliac uncle, which has clearly shaped her awkward but quick-witted disposition as a person and made her an outcast of sorts around her peers. And surprisingly enough, the Beast emerges in the film's final act, and before long the audience learns that Fletcher was right. While Crumb still looks like himself in beast form, he's bigger, stronger, and an overall indomitable force. Dr. Fletcher finds her way to Crumb's location, and upon discovering the girls, is killed by Crumb, who then, in his beast persona, goes on to kill Claire and Marcia. Casey tries to escape by saying his full name, Kevin Wendell Crumb, to him, and while she's successful for a few moments, Crumb eventually turns back into the Beast. In Casey's last stand, she discovers that Crumb has impenetrable skin, can climb walls, move fast, and craves human flesh. Right before the Beast is about to kill Casey, he notices seemingly self-inflicted scars on her stomach and decides to back away and leave Casey alone, seeing as how she isn't pure and innocent. It's at this moment when Crumb's ultimate plan and motives reveal themselves. Crumb's 24th Beast personality is an amalgamation of every feeling of anger and alienation he's ever received from the world. It's a result of his strict, abusive, and overall terrible mother who brought on his split personalities in the first place, the people, perhaps even the kids from his childhood who would bully him or make fun of him for his mental illness, and every other negative force that has ever been inflicted upon him. His plan was to scope out and abduct three girls who he believed lived perfect, normal, struggle-free lives, and devour them as a way of exerting his dominance over all of those who have ever treated him poorly and looked down at him without knowing what it meant to suffer themselves. With a new superhuman personality having come to fruition, Crumb's scars have literally made him more powerful, which makes his story parallel with Casey's. Both lived their childhood under the care of abusive, awful, disgusting people, and as a result were social outcasts, never quite fitting in with their peers. Obviously, all of this having a more severe impact on Kevin. In the end, it's Casey's scars and troubled past, the very things that haunt her, that lead to her survival, and help her develop the strong survival instincts that got her out of the situation. As Casey leaves, she realizes that she was being kept under the Philadelphia Zoo, where Crumb worked, which explains why many of the abilities Crumb develops as the Beast share traits of animals ranging from lizards to tigers to cheetahs. As the police eventually come to rescue Casey and ask her where she wants to go, she fails to offer up an answer, perhaps realizing that she has quite a bit in common with Kevin. However, she also now knows that she is strong, much stronger than she thought, and while her scars are and always will be a part of her, they don't need to define her like Kevin's do. So now I'd like to move the discussion over to the film's post-credit scene, for which I'd like to offer up a few possibilities of what it means for future M. Night Shyamalan movies. So in the post-credit scene, we find ourselves in a diner, as an anchor's voice emanates from a nearby television, telling of the incident involving Crumb and how he, a man with superhuman abilities, is on the run. The camera pans across a row of people before it stops on a woman who says something to the effect of, "Wasn't there a man in a wheelchair who had special abilities? What was that man's name?" And before we know it, none other than Bruce Willis's David Dunn from M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable tilts his head forward to provide the answer to the woman's question. Mr. Glass. While Split itself doesn't really have a typical M. Night Shyamalan twist, the end credits scene serves as a wholly unexpected surprise and confirms that both Split and Unbreakable exist in the same universe. The director has never really attempted to establish a Marvel-style connected universe between his films, with each serving seemingly independent of every other one, so seeing this from him is something I personally never expected to see, and quite honestly, was one of the better surprises I've seen in a movie for quite a while, even if once again, it's not a traditional twist. While those of you who haven't seen Unbreakable may be confused by the scene, to catch you up, Unbreakable follows a Philadelphia man who is coming to terms with his superhuman abilities, which include strength and extrasensory perception, played by Bruce Willis. After being the only survivor in a deadly train crash, Willis's David Dunn comes across Samuel Jackson's Eliza Price, a man born with extremely fragile and prone to fracture bones, who helps him realize his abilities. Not before long, Willis finds out that Price has superhuman abilities himself, including intelligence and manipulation, and calls himself Mr. Glass, a nickname children called him to make fun of his bone disorder as a child. It's revealed that he's the man responsible for a number of terrorist attacks, including the derailment of Willis's train at the beginning of the film, all in the hopes of finding the antithesis to his supervillain. At the end of the movie, Glass is reported to the police and admitted to a mental asylum. So knowing all of this, let's run through a couple possibilities of what this Bruce Willis cameo means. To start off, the first possibility is absolutely nothing. I mean, there is a chance, no matter how small it may be, that M. Night Shyamalan just kind of feels like bringing David Dunn back for, just a fun little cameo, and then plans on retiring the character right after this film. But quite honestly, that would be pretty hard to believe, so let's move on to option number 2. Maybe Shyamalan is leaving the door open for a straight-up sequel to Unbreakable that will just continue telling Dunn's story, which perhaps involves him going toe-to-toe with Mr. Glass, or an entirely new villain with no obvious connections to Split. And as for option number 3, which adds on option number 2, and is perhaps the most likely possibility, maybe Shyamalan is planning on having Dunn take on both Mr. Glass and James McAvoy's The Horde, who may very well be teaming up, in a continuation of both the Split and Unbreakable storylines, with perhaps Mr. Glass and James McAvoy's The Horde serving as, the brains and brawn of the operation. Together, they do make for quite an unstoppable team, and also not to mention they share a number of similarities, including extremely troubling childhoods as social outcasts. So seeing as how Shyamalan has brought up the idea of giving audiences a sequel to Unbreakable for the past number of years, this could be a great way to do it, making it even more of an event film with the inclusion of McAvoy, and renewed audience interest from however well Split does at the box office. So barring extremely negative audience responses to Split, which I don't think will happen, Shyamalan seems to be back in business with a number of potential directions to go in from here. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully I cleared up some things about the film's ending to you. Maybe I reiterated a couple theories that you had in your head about the film's ending. Also, I always like to say this. Whatever thoughts, opinions I share in my video are completely my own. I'm not saying that this is what the filmmaker intended. This is just my interpretation of what I saw on screen. And lastly, please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment below telling me if you enjoyed this film, if you agree with my opinion, and also if you're looking forward to seeing what M. Night Shyamalan is going to do next. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Alright, bye.